Before we start this video, I have hiccups, so I'm sorry. I want to let everybody know Jay and Sammy did not post this week. They're having technical difficulties. So we're trying to get that worked out. Also, YouTube is being really weird. The new YouTube has like location recognition. So because we have posters that post in all parts of the world, YouTube is telling us like, no, you can't log in because this isn't your location that you normally log in from. So trying to overcome that. I hate hiccups. And yes, that is, I just want to let you guys know, that is why Jay and Sammy did not post this week, but working on getting everything resolved. So, without further ado, here's my video. Hey guys, my name is Charlie, and I am your vlogger for Wednesdays on Our Pagan Opinions. Today we're going to be talking about the broom closet. So pretty much everyone who stumbles across any form of anything practicing magic or associated with witchcraft or Wicca has inevitably heard the term broom closet and coming out of the broom closet. It's sort of this cutesy pop term that has been associated and likened to, I guess, a homosexual coming out of the closet to friends and family when they have learned to accept and identify that they are in fact homosexual. And coming out of the broom closet is sort of when like a witch or a pagan or somebody who's practicing a faith that could be, I guess that could possibly have a negative connotation associated with it, or an element of fear from the outsiders associated with it. There's this cutesy term attached that you come out of the broom closet. You admit to your family members and to your friends, listen, I'm a witch, or listen, I'm Wiccan, or I'm pagan, or whatever. I guess my take on the broom closet, first of all, I'm completely out of said broom closet. I don't refer to it as the broom closet. Like I said, I think it's kind of like a trendy sort of cutesy pop term. I get the same feeling when I hear the word broom closet as I do when I hear the term Madtown for Madison. Like, I can't stand when people refer to Madison as Madtown. So I don't refer to it as like a broom closet, but I am openly pagan. That's what I say. I don't say I'm out of the broom closet. I say I'm openly pagan. Now, I have had experience coming out about my sexuality, because those of you who follow me on my personal channel already know that I am bisexual. So when I was 15, I came out about that. To me, there is a bit of a difference, and that difference would be that your spirituality you choose. Now, that could be countered, or it could be argued that you don't choose your spirituality, that there's a certain sense of homecoming when you come to this particular path. And I completely 100% agree with that. But on the same token, people don't necessarily have to be open about it. They don't have, it's a choice of whether or not they want to be open about it. Generally, when you have someone who is born homosexual or bisexual or any of the other sexuals that there are out there, it's very, very uncomfortable staying inside that closed, dark box and not being able to share the love that you have for another person with people. On the flip side, for me, spirituality is a very personal thing. It's a very private thing. Kind of ironic because I do post videos on YouTube, but you guys don't see what goes on when the camera's turned off. But there's, I guess for me, coming out of the regular closets, the what type of sexuality, what type of sexual orientation am I closet, that is a little bit more, I would say, dire in coming to terms with and accepting who you are as a sexual person and as a human being and who you love, because there's not really a choice there. I mean, some people argue that some people choose, like, I mean, being bisexual, I could say that I could choose to be heterosexual in that I choose only to fulfill my desires to be with men, or I could choose to be lesbian and completely like just not be with men and only choose women, because it is really that 50-50 split. Like, I like both 50-50. Most people, it's not like that. I think people usually, in terms of sexuality, are attracted to one gender over another gender. But anyway, that's off topic. The point of this is when you're coming out of like the regular closets, I think it's a bigger deal in that it's something that is extremely important, and I don't think that someone could really fully come to terms with who they are as a person and as a person who is capable of love if they're not able to share that love and that joy with their family members. On the flip side, part of me a little bit thinks that the Broom Closet has kind of become, I would say it's sort of become like, how fast can you come out? And it's almost become like, I don't want to say an attention thing, but kind of. Not for everybody at all. Definitely not for everybody, but I think especially with people who are very brand new to the path, and especially people who are coming from a faith that is very dogmatic and it's very rigid and not very open and free, there's a level of excitement that comes when you find Wicca or you find paganism, because the boundaries are not so rigid, you know. They're definitely blurred a little bit, and very much more free and open. And I think people are very excited to be able to finally find a faith that they really feel at home with and they want to practice, and so then they want to tell everybody right away. I will also say that I think that people come out of the broom closet, so to speak, too soon in a lot of cases, because I say it all the time on my personal channel. I'm a huge advocate of making sure that you do your research and you really, really, really kind of dive into all of the different religions that this world has to offer, because there are so many beautiful, beautiful spiritual paths. And finding the first one that kind of pops out, I know that Wicca specifically has kind of this Hollywood sort of trendy fad kind of feel about it because specifically how it's portrayed in Hollywood. And I think that that's a shame, really. But it's kind of when like kids are watching, especially like young kids, like adolescents and like preteens and teens, they watch some of those movies or those TV shows and they're like, oh, that person's Wiccan, and like, you know, sometimes they're all dressed all goth or they're dressed like hippies or something, but something about that aspect or that appearance appeals to these people, and they decide right then and there, I'm going to be Wiccan, or I'm going to be a witch. And I would even say that people generally, it's generally tied mostly to Wicca and not to paganism in general, because paganism is much more broad, much more vast, much more, has a little bit more depth, less of a shiny surface, I guess. Not to say that Wicca has a shiny surface, but to say that paganism is not portrayed that way in the media as much as Wicca is. Am I making any sense at all? Probably not. But I guess where I'm going with this is basically, if you are going to come out of the broom closet, I guess, you really want to make sure that this is the right path. If you feel called to Wicca and you've read everything that you can on Wicca and you started practicing Wicca, or you kind of started looking more into the principles and not just the spellcraft portion, because I know that that's a big thing that draws a lot of people in, is like, I want to do spells, I want to do magic, but Wicca is much more, there's much more depth than that, and I don't think that that's portrayed well in the mainstream media, which is one of the reasons I think that that Wicca specifically appeals to young people, is because there's not really that depth and it's not so difficult to understand. Whereas if someone were to start looking into like Taoism or Buddhism, there appears on the exterior to be more depth, because it is portrayed a little bit differently and almost a little bit more respectively, or respectedly, like there's more respect attached to it in the mainstream media. But if you're going to come out of the broom closet, you really need to make sure, okay, I've read about Wicca, and I've read about Taoism, and I read about Buddhism, and I've read about Hinduism, and I've read about Judaism and Catholicism and Christianity and all of these. Like, there are so many different, I'm going to grab a book real quick. There are so many different religions that are just beautiful, and they may actually suit your needs as a spiritual being much better than someone who just sort of finds one specific facet of paganism and it's the first facet that they've found, and then they decide, yeah, that's what I want to practice. And now 3 days later, because I have gotten messages from people, they're like, oh, you know, I love your videos and I've been Wiccan for 3 days, or I love your videos and I just decided yesterday I'm going to be Wiccan. And it doesn't really, I don't want to say that it doesn't work like that, because spirituality is very individual, and it's very, very, very different for every single person. And I don't want to invalidate anybody's experience with their spirituality. So I'm not going to say that it's not right, but what I am going to say is, before you make that dedication and that devotion to a particular path, make sure that you explore all of your options. You don't walk into a restaurant that is known for selling delicious cakes and take one look at the first cake you see and decide that's the cake I want. No, you want to kind of take a little peek at all of the cakes. Maybe there's one that's better, and maybe it'll suit your taste buds a little bit more. So I'm a huge advocate of just making sure that you are educated top to bottom, all different religious paths, and finding out what other belief systems are and what their principles and values are in specific religions, because every religion has, though similar principles and values, each religion has slightly different values and ethics that may mesh well with your own. I've shown this book in other videos. It's called World Religions: Beliefs and Traditions from Around the Globe, and it's by Robert Pollack. And this is a really, really, really awesome book. It's not very thick, and there's sections and chapters on a lot of religions. There are, well, just on the back in general, there are way more than this, but just on the back it lists Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, Native American religions, Sikhism, Confucianism, Jainism, Shintoism, Zoroastrianism, Taoism, and many more. Like, there are so many things in here. I have a book review on it on my channel somewhere. But basically, Broom Closet, if you are not, like, practicing whatever path you're talking about here, whether it's any form of paganism or whether it's just simply witchcraft and not a spiritual base necessarily tied to it, I would definitely make sure that you are practicing for a while and you are feeling comfortable in it and you really do feel kind of, like I said, at home before you come out of the broom closet. And you have to be honest with yourself. There's a level of I guess just being honest with yourself. There's going to be an element where you're going to ask yourself, and you're going to hear the answer in the back of your head, and you're going to know the truth, whether or not you choose to listen to the truth or not. But when you ask yourself, am I doing this because this is what feels right to me? Or am I doing this because I want to be different, or because I want attention, or because I want to be cool? So ask yourself that, and only you will ever know the answer. But if you hear that answer in the back of your mind, and it's one of the latter, where it's, you know, to be cool or to try to fit in or anything like that, then that's just something that you deal with on your own. You know, nobody can tell you when it's right or how it's right or why it's right to come out of any closet, whether it's the regular closet or a broom closet, but only you can decide that. And I guess I would really challenge everyone to do it when it is perfect, when it's the perfect moment for you and for your spirit, and don't devote yourself to a path that you're unsure about. You know, don't do it because you want to rebel. Don't do it because of this or that. Do it because it's what feels right within your spirit. So that's my video. Hopefully it doesn't, hopefully I can crop it down a little bit because it was kind of long. So I'll talk to you guys all later. Love you. Blessed be.